Hello everyone, my name is Liv. Welcome to my channel, the omb.frequency, frequency of balance. I am a oracle, a channeler, a writer, a poet, and a theologian. For this series, I'm going to be taking and reciting and sharing a poem that I've written or channeled or received, and doing a tarot reading on that poem, tarot Lenormand, oracle reading on that poem, and just share whatever messages seem to come up from the poem. This is a collective reading, a timeless reading. Thank you so much for sharing, for liking, for subscribing, for following me on this journey as I begin this journey with Eshu, and sharing this poem that I received from Eshu. Please check the description box for any information on how to book me for personal readings, how to contact me, and the decks that I'm using as well. Oh, so you want fair. Fair skin and a smile is a dangerous thing. Come with me into the dark, a reality marked with the cross, bodies hanging, options for travel, like forward into confusion and far back into a dream lost, tucked away in the ocean. Fairness never helped anyone but itself, and survival never seemed to care how it got there. I'm not a friend, just a reality to bend. Doors open with ease if you've got the keys. Leave a shot on the welcome mat to appease. Nothing's free, we've all got needs. You think this is an easy job? My conscience is a squeaky chain, it must be. Keys rust when tears fall. I'm saying do what you gotta do. I travel high and low and they all look like you. Buttons pressed and all of a sudden you looking high for a comfort to come through. That's not my job to do. Nothing gets past me. So don't come knock on my door when you cut with the blade and want the wounds sewn up. More people have places to go. And there's a traffic light at the four-way stop. I'm standing at the crossroads between before and after. It's not an angel directing traffic, and the devil didn't cause the traffic jam. Just me. And I've got the green lights and the reds dancing at my hands. So, the message that I have is, with the Lenormand, we have the mountain, the letter, and the snake. And this message to me was very obvious, that obstacles bring wisdom, or stillness brings wisdom. Stillness through obstacles bring wisdom. This big halting stop, the red lights bring wisdom. The redirection brings wisdom. At the top of the deck, we have the Wheel of Fortune. And in this deck, which is the DustIIOnyx deck, tarot deck, melanated tarot deck, it actually mentions Eshu, because this is sort of the crossroads. This is the Wheel of Fortune, the turning wheel that opens and closes. We see ourselves on this wheel with open opportunities, closed opportunities. I was taking a walk today and actually knew this card was going to come out. I stopped at this tree trunk and it's fallen over, and I could see all the lines and of the life of this tree. And it's a circle, and it's just different lines in a circle, and I stopped at it and thought about it, and it made me think of the Wheel of Fortune. It made me think of the idea of time, and how oftentimes we can be seemingly going through the same cycle, where it seems like the same thing is happening, like this thing that happened in the past is coming back again, and gotta go through it again, and then go through it again, and it feels like we're just going through the same things, never getting anywhere. But I looked at this tree trunk and the lines of growth that this tree had gone through for decades. And it was a pretty big tree. And I thought about like how, you know, time isn't linear, and so time can seem like some circle and we're just going around in circles, but it's really, if you take like the middle of that tree's lifespan and you expand it out into more of a spiral. And so it can seem like from this point to this point to this point, we're going through the same things, but there's always this opening, this like, as it expands, the tree gets bigger and grows and matures. And even as I was on this walk, I was realizing like, I'm like really getting older, and not older necessarily in the sense that like, you know, of course I'm getting older, but it was like a recognition of like the things that like age, the things that stillness, the things that obstacles can teach you, is this wisdom of like this wisdom of moving through obstacles and realizing that even though you know, the same thing seems to be happening, it's a different level, it's a different evolution, it's a different step up from the last lesson. And so it's just so funny to me because I knew this card. I was literally like thinking about, I stopped at this tree and was thinking about this card, and I was like, okay, when I do this video later today, this card's gonna come out because this is gonna be the story. Because I'm looking at this, I was just fascinated by like, I started my walk just looking at trees and just looking at this huge tree. I literally stopped in its presence. And I was like, whoa, that's a motherfucking tree. That's a tree. It was huge. A bigger tree than I've seen most of the time in like Cincinnati, Ohio, but like it was a big tree, and I just had to stop and sit at its presence and look up at it and imagine all of the years that it's seen, all of the things it's had to go through. And it's like looking up at an elder, like sitting at the feet of an elder. And I told the tree, I was like, I don't even really want anything from you. I just enjoy your presence. Thank you for your presence. And the tree just like, it was the story going in my head of like, you know, sometimes presence is just enough. Sometimes presence is just enough, just being present through these obstacles and being present through these difficulties. Because it's interesting that we get the mountain, because I was also when I went to Colorado, a similar feeling I got from the mountains, like on an even bigger scale, like, whoa, how old are these mountains? When you think of mountains, you think of like this silence, this stillness, this like grandness. They're just, every morning I will wake up in Colorado and look outside and just be taken away by the fact that like these mountains are just silently there. Like, what's the word? Like, such a presence. They color the whole space. They like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, mountains are huge and they're just such a presence, and they're so silent, but there's so much present there. And so I guess I'm like, when moving through these difficulties, difficult times, when moving through the cycles in life, there's an importance to just like your presence there. I'm learning this too recently with myself. Like, sometimes It's not about constantly healing or constantly, doing the things to correct. And sometimes I'm realizing as I age, it's just like, sometimes it's just being present with where you are and saying like, I know I might need to do this thing. I know I might need to change this habit, but I'm just going to sit here and be aware of the fact that where I am. And sometimes, when you like surrender to that presence, and you surrender to that, like knowing that, you might want to be somewhere else, but right now you are present with exactly where on the wheel you're falling. Like you're right here. And even though you might want to be right here, you're right here. And even though you might feel like you've been here before and you've been here before, but you're here, that is like distance. That is wisdom. So sometimes the presence, just being present with where you are, just being aware of where you are, does so much more passively to help you move ahead than like trying to steer your way somewhere. And here we are with the rider, which is all about like tapping into the divine GPS. That's what the card says, spiritual divine GPS. Like sometimes it's just, being aware of where you want to go, knowing that there's a space that you want to be, knowing that there's a space where spirit needs you to be, knowing that, surrendering to the fact that you don't even know where you're going to be. That's what this energy right now feels like, as we're at this is a timeless reading, but the spring equinox, and no matter where you are on the wheel of fortune, no matter where you are at the crossroads, and we're always at a crossroad, there is the unknown, there's the mystery, there's, you don't know where you're gonna be headed. You don't know what the next step is gonna look like. You don't know. And so there's like tapping into the divine GPS, tapping into this like instinctual, spirit-led part of you that just has faith that you're gonna get somewhere, because you have, and that's the thing that like growing up and having years on you is teaching me, because I'm only 26, but like I guess I'm just realizing like, now that my brain is fully formed and everything, I have at least enough years to know like, okay, I've been here before and I was good, so I'm gonna be good. And it's like looking back on that, that point where you were here before and you were like, okay, I was good there, like something came through. I tapped into a divine GPS in this way or that way, and I made it through. And then this other time I was at this exact same place and I tapped in again, and some shit came through and I was good. So now that I'm here, let me just improve the process, and again tap into that wisdom. And the Ace of Swords is about that. It's about like pouring into the cup of pouring into your own cup, being aware of like exactly where you are, being aware of the potential of a new start, the potential of crossing the threshold into a new space, the potential of, what happens when you do get that green light. If you do find yourself at some obstacle where maybe you got a red light, maybe you were cut with the blade, And you got to sew up your own wounds, like, tapping into the potential of the newness after that. The thing with the crossroads is that there's always a liminal space. There's always a newness. At any moment, you can create and be aware. Not even create, because we're constantly in liminal space. Time isn't linear. We're constantly living in a past. The present is a liminal space that get me talking about time. But, we're constantly in liminal space. The moment the words come out, the moment the thing happens, the moment we're aware of something, it's already past. We're already in a different time. We're already in a new space of creation. The present is a space of creation. The present is a whole potential space where we can fill our cup with, new creations, new ideas, new emotional waters, new ways of like thinking about how to be in relationship, and new growth. The next card is Temperance. Temperance. It is Aries season, and I am an Aries and Temperance, man. Moderation, patience, tolerance, adaptability. I was looking at that tree and I was just like, the patience. Oh, centuries, decades of being in the same spot and just growing and expanding, and the patience that, like, time, getting time on you, getting older. I'm like so glad that I'm learning patience, because it's and then you think about patience as something where it's like waiting for something to happen. But if you're in an unknown space, if you're in a liminal space, if you're at the crossroads and you don't know when the green lights are coming, when the red lights are coming, then temperance expands to this larger concept of just balance in general. Of just, I realized the other night that, like, on another level, I was reaching another level on my journey of understanding, like, oh, when it comes to these cycles, I always hit a point where I'm just like, all right, I feel something is coming, and it's making me itch in my skin because I want to be there now. And I can go here and do this and go here and do that and reach out for all these different things that I want to do. And at the end of the day, temperance is like, there's always like a center to be at. And for me, that is always it's always been tied to like being grounded in my body. Our bodies take up a lot of like energy to take care of. So, when I'm taking care of my body, I'm doing this for my body, and then I look up and it's like oh, my day is, that was pretty much my day. Just like getting through the things that I have to do, getting through the things that I need to do for my body. And boom, the day is spent. The day has passed. And it's that understanding of like the patience and discipline that it takes to move through these cycles. And you think about like very ancient elder beings like trees, like mountains, like starfish on our last card, little gourd. And thinking about what little gourd is teaching about like loving and creating without attachments, like having to detach from some expectation of like an outcome. That is a wisdom. Obstacles, not getting exactly what you want. Not like, hitting some finish line. Or realizing even if you do hit a finish line, you start right up on the next cycle. And so it's just this constant process of detaching from expectations, detaching from some reward. And knowing that the real reward, as we see through time, through stacking years, is this wisdom of like just knowing how to be present with exactly where you are. And yes, that ties you to the body. It ties me to the body. It also ties me to creativity, which I was already talking about that, like as we move through like the Ace of Gourds and understand that time, it's like a constant liminal space, and you're constantly like creating these crossroads, being aware of these crossroads and knowing that, each moment, right before I say the next word, there is a liminal space of potential, and then I say a word and it creates a reality, and then I make a decision and it creates a reality. And so being this creator is like a constant process on this wheel, and the obstacles just kind of deliver the wisdom like in a way that smooth sailing, getting the reward may not in the same way. Let me see. The archetype to embrace. The archetype to embrace that I got is the fault line, which just looking at this picture also made me think about the tree, because when I saw the tree like falling over, there was like a fault line right in the middle, right in the middle of the tree. And this card is redefining reality and breaking open. The fissure, the crack, the wink link. Prepare yourself for change. It's much better to prepare yourself for change than to walk along the fault line pretending all is well. So again, this just goes with the awareness, when things start breaking down, when you're on the wheel and you way down here and you kind of scared, kind of nervous, like I was saying before, in those moments when you're like, okay, I've been here before though. That awareness of the fear awareness of the tension, awareness of how much you want stable ground, and awareness of the danger, the chaos, and awareness of, you know, the cracks and the imperfections in the journey. Also tie the string to the awareness of like how you've gotten through it before. Not only how you got through it before, but also how you got there in the first place. Like, you know, there's these patterns of like, oh, this is how I got to this place. And then there's a pattern of, oh, but this is how I got out of this space. And then this, as we move on this spiral and we grow and we get bigger and we expand, there's just this more and more wisdom. But you have to like really look at the fault line. It says in Japanese, kintsugi pottery, gold is used to mend cracks. Breaks are thought of as precious rather than something to be hidden. And so again, it's just back to the awareness, just being very aware, and with no shame, like no shame. Yeah, I need to be doing this thing, and I'm not doing it right now, but we're gonna get there. And as you just become aware of like, maybe the thing that you could have done better, you should have done better, and you just, you know, like keep it in the back of your mind, or I don't know how many different ways to say like become aware, but looking at the cracks, looking at the imperfections. I was looking up at this tree and there's like, you know, holes, and imagine all the things that happened to create that hole at that time in the tree's life, or, you know, there's just like, just being aware of the times you are cut with the blade. He said, fairness never helped anyone but itself, and survival never seemed to care how it got there. Shit's not fair. Shit's not fair. I don't even think I need to be pulling these cards. But right at the Three of Swords, shit's not fair. Life is heartbreaking. Life is heartbreaking. Life is a whole journey of heartbreak. And yet, we got the Ace of Swords on this, and we got the Ten of Swords, the Ten of Chalices here. It's just about like the detachment in order, you know, there's a detachment that has to happen in order to creatively play with reality, in order to creatively laugh at reality. I was also doing that today on my walk. I was just in my own head, just laughing at the stories I was telling about people going by. We got the Ten of Chalices again. Cut the deck, Ten of Chalices again. Let me read this. Yeah, this is about relationships. We got the Two of Cups and the Ten of Cups. Two of Cups and the Ten of Cups. So yeah, life's not fair. And he said fairness never helped anyone but itself. Fairness never helped anyone but itself. And survival never seemed to care how it got there. I'm not a friend, just a reality to bend. With ease if you got the keys. So yeah, the key is staying in the like creative aspect of reality. The key is staying in the detachment from expectations, because this shit's not fair. And if it wasn't fair, who would it be fair to? You think it'll be fair to you all the time? If life was supposed to be fair, would it be fair to you? Would it be fair to me? Who would it be fair to? So yeah, it's just about this like constant collaboration with reality, creating, loving and creating and playing with reality, especially through the obstacles, especially through the stillness, especially through the points on the journey when we might feel like we're getting red lights or we're cut with blades or it's not fair. Those are the time when like you're really sent wisdom. And if you can detach from expectations, if you can become aware of exactly where you are and play with that time and play with those memories of that other time that you were there and, oh, you made it through. Like, you made it through. What makes you think you won't make it through this time? You know, it might not be comfortable, but you'll make it through. And so just have some fun with different ways to like make it through. The trees that fall over and then, you know, they wrap themselves up again. Like, have some fun. I have this crystal Mandala oracle deck, but my phone is propped up on it. So next time I'll use it. But yeah, thanks for joining me. That's my reading, first one for the channel. DM me on Instagram at omb.frequency or livvblacc. The description box has all the info. If you want a personal reading, I am an oracle, a poet, a channeler, and a theologian. So this is a godly or, you know, whatever story you want to tell about who's controlling the wheel. But yes, thank you for joining me and have a good one.